for me chacha obibiara edeba enim de news so eso stories there ene ebi ewo ho pa eye okay kofi okay mamenye another story no the story nyenye no enwe etie for sabre yebeko ensem no emu na ya cheche ensem no emu.
Good evening, Ghana. Suggest that the raid that has occurred at Ken Ofori Atta's house earlier this evening, Tuesday, 11th February, was not conducted by police officers. It was conducted by military officers. Now, they don't know that somebody on the top of the building next door was filming, and that video has been made available to us. So, was filming how they entered, and then the video remained until they came out. What happened inside, the video couldn't capture because the person was on the building. The soldiers, those of you went there, you will see that to your left, there was a story building there. A very prominent person lives there, and she was concerned about what was happening. So she filmed it, and she sent it to us. So the video indicates soldiers, numbering about 15 of them. One of them is half camera, so we really couldn't check. But at least there are more than 10, numbering about 15 military soldiers, not police. They raided Ken Ofori Atta's house at Cantonment earlier today. Now, everybody was pointing to Dr. Kufu Dampare. It's not about Dampare. It's not Dampare. Apparently, the Honorable Kisi Ajabin is responsible for this. And we don't know why. Kisi Ajabin is responsible for the raid on Ken Ofori Atta's house this evening. Now, why are we saying this? Because we have now also seen letters that have been written from Kisi Ajabin to Ken Ofori Atta, asking for Ken Ofori Atta to be questioned on issues relating to SML contracts. Viewers, remember that, the famous or infamous SML contract. So Kisi Ajabin has written to Ofori Atta asking him to answer questions on the SML contract. I'm not so sure who asked him to do that, but the OSP can have a mandate originating from his table. He can originate a mandate based on the broad mandate that he has. He can originate a mandate and say that I'm coming to ask you questions. He can do that. So in exercise of that authority, Kisi Ajabin, the special prosecutor, wrote to Ken Ofori Atta. Lawyers for Ofori Atta responded to Kisi Ajabin indicating that the witness was not in town. Ken Ofori Atta was not in town. He's in America on health grounds, and that they are able to answer questions on his behalf so long as he can produce the questions. Lawyers also promised that as soon as Ofori Atta arrives in Ghana, they will submit him to the office of the special prosecutor. As far as the lawyers were concerned, this was the conclusion of the matter. Now, they were told today that their client's house has been raided by soldiers. Quickly, calls went to the police IGP, asking Dr. Dampare, what is all this about? Dr. Dampare is thinking about himself, and that's what he told them, that I have not sent anybody to raid anywhere. The people who went there were soldiers. I don't have control over soldiers. I just have control over police. So the military, and this is the so I don't know whether the defense minister, Dr. Manibuama, is aware. But please tell Dr. Manibuama that I was mentioning his name. He's the minister for defense. And his soldiers, numbering over 10 of them, under the instructions of the office of the special prosecutor, as widely believed, raided Ofori Atta's house today. Military, not police, military. They raided Ofori Atta's house today, 3-4 hours ago. The story is on CTFM. Let's get a glimpse of how Channel 1 and CTFM put the story out, and then we take it from there. Do we have it's a very short story though, because it's still running. Ken Ofori Atta's home raided by individuals in military uniform. A group of individuals in military uniforms raided the residence of former finance minister Ken Ofori Atta on Tuesday afternoon. The incident took place in Cantonment while Ofori Atta was reportedly out of the country. However, some family members took place in Cantonment while Ofori Atta was reportedly out of the country. However, some family members, including his wife, were present at the time. The motive behind the raid remains unclear. Channel 1 news sources confirm that multiple uniformed individuals entered the premises, but it is yet to determine whether anything was taken. Authorities have not issued an official statement on the incident. Now, we know that from the videos that were made available, when the soldiers were coming out, they were not holding anything that they didn't have when they were entering. And we checked that to be sure whether something was taken out, because we had already read the story before this lady sent us the video. So if you look at it, the way the soldiers entered, it looks like that's the same way they came out. So they didn't take anything. The question then is mandates, authority, warrants, all of those things come into play. Because when the police are coming to your house to search you, let me have the photograph of the three of them again. When the police are coming to your house to search you, they would normally have a warrant. And in the police context, an individual high court judge can so moto, as they say in law, it means by himself, can so moto issue a warrant for your arrest. A high court judge can so moto and ex parte issue a warrant. Ex parte means they don't have to call you and come to the court. So moto means by himself. He doesn't need a motion. He can just do it upon his own motion when he's told that this person needs to be searched. So the police will normally do that. I believe that even under the rules, I think so, I stand to be corrected, that the Inspector General of Police can issue a warrant. I think so. The Inspector General of Police can issue a warrant, but the CDS cannot issue a warrant. The Chief of Defense Staff cannot issue a warrant over a civilian that they should go and search him. The Inspector General of Police can. So if the Chief of Defense Staff wants to search you with the soldiers, he has to go through the Inspector General of Police. But here's Kisi Ajabe, who walks around with soldiers protecting him. And I'm guessing that he sends soldiers to Ken Ofori Atta's house to go and search him. There's a lot more on this story coming up on Thursday. So much more is going to come up on Thursday. Here's the Honorable Ken Ofori Atta and his wife, Angela. Honorable Ken, don't worry. We know that you have not done anything wrong. Sometimes you become finance minister, and in your quest to do things, some things can go wrong. Everybody is blaming you about DEP, debt exchange program, collapse of banking, and all that. But in due time, I'm sure posterity will see what you did, if you did something good, and I'm sure that you did something good. So that's Ken Ofori Atta. Say a prayer for him tonight, because he's under Kisi Ajabe's radar. Here is Ken Ofori Atta and the learned Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. I'm not sure when this photograph was taken, but this is the Archbishop who I'm going to talk about tonight, because he had a stupendous prayer session in Parliament today, and I'm going to talk about what the Archbishop told the MPs when he was praying for them. That's coming up. So that's the Archbishop, that's Ken Ofori Atta, and that is Angela Ofori Atta in an old photograph. Pray for Ken. Papa, you got to pray for Ken, you got to pray for your man, because he's under Kisi Ajabe's radar. And Papa, this Kisi Ajabe guy has soldiers around him, and even though he was looking for Ken to answer questions, he was told by Ken's lawyers that Ken is not there. Papa, you know what he did? He sent soldiers to Ken's house. Papa, you got to pray for him. You got to pray for Ken Ofori Atta right now. And all Ghanaians. What about the gold? He said the gold too is fake. I said, how do they do it? He said, well, this is what they do. These criminals bring this money to places where the governance system is a bit loose, so they choose an African country, and they were not lucky. Ghana's governance system is quite strong. That's why they were caught. So they go to Mali, Niger, and they have all of this money. Okay, and so they would have taken some from Ghana to those places, Niger, Mali, Libya. On the journey to Libya, you are giving somebody dollars. You are jumping the boat. The people who give people space to travel on the boat to go to Spain, they will give you that dollar. You think you are bad. You think you are cheating your boat. You don't know that the dollar is fake. So they use it for all those kinds of maneuvering. They use it for armed robbery. They use it to bribe police when they are traveling with maybe some drugs on the highway, and the policeman stops them. They give him $20,000. It's fake. The policeman doesn't know that it's fake. You take it home and give some to Adjoa Mansan. Adjoa Mansan will go to the Forex Bureau and she'll be arrested. And they'll say, I said, police ni. That's what happens. So this is how they use the money. So if you are also a banker, and apparently Ghana has a very stringent system with the back room of bankers. I'm not a banker, I don't know. Those who are bankers can confirm that when you look at the banking hall, behind you, what you, the customer, don't see, the amount of security there is massive because of all of these things. And this is required for international regulation. So if the international banking system come to Ghana and we don't have that, they will rate our banking system lower. This is the story. So what they do with those banking system that is loose, they give a banker $100,000. That's a lot of money. That would be how much? 10. Yes. They give a banker that's $100,000, yeah? And then, sorry, viewers. And then he takes it to the bank. Then he takes it to the vault and takes proper 100,000 and puts this 100,000 there. So today he's cleared 100,000. Then they are dealing with 25 bankers. So one day, 2,500,000 has come. Tomorrow we continue. In 2 weeks, they've cleaned it up 700,000. But you can only do that if the system is weak. And it was explained to me that this is why the back room of the banking system is so brutally locked, proper, so that it helps the regulation. So every bank in Ghana is required to do that at the banking system to provide that security. In fact, recently they were also told to provide certain armored car bullion vans, you remember. So the regulation system is good. So they were not lucky. The suspicion, therefore, is that once they brought the money to Ghana and they noticed that Ghana systems are tight, they kept it in the warehouse, hoping to move it further north. And the 4 of them are still on the run. The police are yet to give more information about that, but they say they're on the run. So I was interested because I thought it was political. I was told that it's not political at all. If you have a question about that, this one you can send it to our social media editors. But Oral is in charge, aren't they? Let's go over to the touch screen and deal with Oral. Yeah. Oral people, most of them are my very good friends. So I refer to the Deputy Director of IOCO. Congratulations to the Honorable Oral Member Raymond Atta, whom I know very, very well. Okay, President John Dramani Mahama has presented Operation Recover All Loot Oral Committee's report to the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. Honorable Dominic Ayini was there to take the report. But the report is fascinating, isn't it? Let's read it. President John Dramani Mahama has presented the Operation Recover All Loot Committee's report to the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dominic Ayini, marking the next phase of the committee's work. This move is part of President Mahama's efforts to combat corruption and recover misappropriated state resources. This is a photograph of the members of Oral. From left to right, President John Dramani Mahama. Next to him, Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, who was chairman of Oral. Next to him, Deputy Director of IOCO, Raymond Atta, who was also a member of Oral. Next to him, Martin Pebu, a seasoned advocacy human rights lawyer who is being touted by members of the NDC to be nominated onto the Supreme Court. Next to him is Daniel Domelevo, former Auditor General who was appointed by President Mahama after the NDC had lost the election after 7 December 2016. Says the government's mandate ends on the 7th of December. That is going to be a very, very interesting matter once it gets to the court. But the Chief of Staff is suggesting that the government's mandate ends on 7th December. Daniel Domelevo here, where is the photograph? Daniel Domelevo here, who became Auditor General, was appointed after President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC had unfortunately lost the 2016 election. So we live to see how these things shape up in this democracy. Okay, so this is the president. I like his gonja smoke and the coloring of it. Quite beautiful. This is the president handing over the Operation Recover All Loot document to the learned Attorney General. And this is what I thought was missing. COP Kofi Boakye, how are you? This, you see, the first photograph, my producer too, why is he punishing me like that? So when I looked at this photograph, I thought there was something missing. Now the thing has come. This is the Oral chairman. Okay, the chairman is a black one, but the real chairman is COP Kofi Boakye. But is he standing at attention? Viewers, let's try and understand Kofi Boakye. Oh, but if President Mahama could have appointed a former high-ranking police officer as IGP, is there any rule against that? Mr. Producer, check the law. Is there a rule against a former COP who has retired being appointed as IGP? Check whether there's a rule against it. I doubt whether there will be a rule against it. Maybe it's an idea for NDC people who like Kofi Boakye. Maybe it's an idea for the police people who like Kofi Boakye. Maybe it's an idea. I hope the law, there's no rule against it. Also, I don't know whether you can also appoint a military person to become the Inspector General of Police. I think there's no rule against that. So you can appoint a military 3-star general to become the Inspector General of Police. But I don't know whether you can appoint a policeman to be CDS. No, that you can't. But you can also appoint a policeman to be the head of fire service. Yes, you can do that. You can appoint a military man to be the head of fire service. Today, an army officer has been appointed as the head of GAPOHA. Viewers, so this is the thing I was talking about on us, for example. Next time, police officers will be appointed as Temawe Refinery boss. Policeman who has supported a party will be appointed as GMPC boss. Let's check it. Military brigadier is now GAPOHA boss. That hasn't happened in a very long time. This is the military Rawlings time they used to do that. All the GAPOHA MDs have been seasoned professionals from the system. Now they've appointed a military man there. Tomorrow a policeman will be appointed at GMPC. Tomorrow we have to be serious. But I'm interested in the rule whether the former IGP, a former police COP who has retired, can be appointed as IGP. If that were so, and Kofi Boakye was qualified, it could be a good idea if the president doesn't want Dampare. So the most fascinating thing about Oral is that they are suggesting to us that the total loot that they have found is $21 billion. Oral could retrieve $21.9 billion from stolen assets. I don't know how this sounds, but it sounds to me as completely ridiculous. $21 billion is going to be retrieved from where? Who has $21 billion that he stole in the 8 years and most likely the 4 years of Akufo-Addo's era? Akufo-Addo and his appointees, Ghana's total debt stock. Producer, do you have that information? Ghana's total debt stock is 48.1 billion. Now, this is Ghana's debt stock since Nkrumah's time, since Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1960. Ghana's total debt stock is 48.1 billion. The oral report is suggesting that in the last 8 years, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, his appointees and his friends and his government and his party have occasioned to this country through looting a loss of 21 billion, almost half of the total national debt accumulated since the Nkrumah era. This sounds at the least completely ridiculous. But let's see what happens. What do we have to say? Martin Pebu then comes up and says that oral crimes. Martin Pebu chokes over whether NDC members are involved. So a question was asked to him whether this crimes they found at oral, it's just MPP members or it's NDC members, because that question is begging to be asked. That Akufo-Addo and his appointees have occasioned to Ghana a loss of 21 billion United States dollars through looting. Whatever looting means, Akufo-Addo and his appointees have occasioned to Ghana 21 billion loss. Ghana's total debt stock is 48 billion since Kwame Nkrumah's time. 48 billion. But over the last 8 years, the president and his party and his government and appointees have looted nearly half of Ghana's total debt stock. Anyway, now I think the oral people deserve congratulations. So I did a montage for them. Oral, this is another story. Majority of cases need auditing to confirm wrongdoing. I mean, viewers, I mean, we are all Ghanaians. Should we be taken for granted like this? After all the propaganda about oral, Dom Level goes on an interview in City FM, and they ask him that, what is the veracity of the findings? What is the veracity of the findings? And to that question, he says that the majority of the cases need auditing to confirm the wrongdoing. So no wrongdoing has yet been confirmed. So this 21 billion they are talking about, is it in the air? Is it in the sky? Is it a hoax? Because this is Dom Level being asked the veracity of their claims, then says that there's another leg for us to travel to come to the conclusion